Some of them will be saved. Some of them will just naturally go out of business. They want to serve their time and their function.
But he says there's no need to panic if you attend a smaller rural church.
There are a whole lot of retired pastors who would be delighted to go out and be a part-time pastor of a church that was plateaued or small in membership and couldn't afford a full-time pastor.
I'm Steve Jordahl.
Crude oil prices rose and then fell as the United Arab Emirates opened a major oil summit Monday, just after the OPEC group of the cartel and its allies announced they would halt planned production increases for early 2026. More news online at afn.net and download the AFN mobile app. I'm Rusty Pugh.
As we watch world events unfold and fulfill Scripture, it's hard to believe anyone could doubt God and His Word are real, and yet there are so many who either question or completely refuse to believe it. The God Who Speaks is a 90-minute documentary that hits the doubt head-on with evidence that proves God is real and His Word is the ultimate authority. Watch it anytime and invite others to watch with you. Just visit stream.afa.net. That's stream.afa.net.
Welcome to Today's Issues, offering a Christian response to the issues of the day. Here's your host, Tim Wildmon, President of the American Family Association.
Hey, good morning, everybody, and welcome to Today's Issues on the American Family Radio Network. Thanks for listening to AFR. I'm Tim Wildman, and in studio with me today is Ed Vitagliano. Good morning, Brother Ed.
Good morning, Tim.
And Chris Woodward.
Good morning.
You're a brother too, Chris.
Yes, thank you very. Thank you, brother.
A brother in Christ, as the Bible says.
That's right.
All right, so thanks for listening, everybody. We got so much to talk about. Brother Fred Jackson is he's out today, right?
He had to pinch hit for Jenna today and host her show, so I am Fred today.
Right. Pinch or pinch? Which is it?
Pit.
Pinch hit.
Pinch hit, yes. Yeah.
I've just heard people describe it.
Pinch.
Yeah.
Also, my wife says pinch, so
sometimes asking a Southerner which is it.
I know. That's not a good idea, right?
Accurate answer.
I tell her I'm not correcting her. You know, you can.
It's like irregardless. People
there
are
are bigger fish to fry. Yeah. I'm getting into
That's not a hill to die on, and I will die.
All right. Again, thanks for listening to American Family Radio. Today's Issues, the name of this program. All right. We got so much to talk about, but we have a guest we wanted to get right to because he said if we don't talk to him now, he won't be available. So that's just the way it goes. We got to get to Rob West right now. Rob is host of Faith and Finance, heard weekdays at 9 a.m., just preceding this program on the American Family Radio Network. Rob, good morning to you.
Good morning, gentlemen. I'm pinch hitting for myself.
There you go. Pinch.
Ready to go.
Pinch hitting for yourself. Rob, we wanted to have you. How long do you have? 5 minutes? 10 minutes? How long?
I've got all the time you need, Tim.
Okay. All right.
You shouldn't have said that.
Yeah. They used to say when I was lining up to putt. We got all the time you need, Tim. Just take your time there. Not that you're going to make it, but anyway, that's what they were thinking. Yep. All right, so we got a lot of current event topics to talk about. We're going to get to in a few minutes, but I've been seeing something in the news that's that's a scam that is getting a lot of attention, and it's kind of scary to hear about. And when I mentioned it to Ed, he said, "Well,
just
how do you
ruin my day?"
Yeah, I know. How do you prevent something like that from happening? But can you explain this scam? Because I wanted people to be aware of it. Can you explain this scam out there that's happening across the country, Rob?
Yeah, I'd be happy to. And it comes described as deed transfer or a home title theft. And the bottom line is it's extremely rare. Basically, identity theft-based deed fraud does happen, but it's usually a paperwork mess, not a financial catastrophe. Most homeowners can protect themselves by signing up for their county's free deed alerts. We'll talk about that in a second, and by never signing away their title without trusted advice. So essentially, two very different crimes use the same document. It's the quitclaim deed. You may have heard of that term. It's what allows you to sign over your home. Only one can cost you your home, and it's important to understand the difference between the two. So the first one is what's called deed forgery identity theft. So this version is more of a paperwork crime and is often featured in these alarmist ads you're talking about, where it's described as, quote, home title theft. So a criminal forges a quitclaim deed or pretends to be the homeowner to file it with the county recorder and then takes out a loan and tries to sell the property. Well, here's what matters. The real owner still legally owns the home. A forged deed doesn't hold up in court. The thief might get the loan proceeds, but the lenders or title insurers take the financial hit, not the homeowner. So the result is a bunch of stress and paperwork, but not the loss of your house. You can sign up for property alert programs in most counties, and more are adding this all the time, where they'll for free notify you if someone files a document in your name. The other one is a quitclaim con, and this is basically a persuasion scam. It's the more dangerous of the two, but it's far less common, and even the first one is, I would consider, rare. In this version, the scammer talks you in as a homeowner to willingly sign a legitimate quitclaim deed and essentially kind of gets you to transfer ownership to them, and you don't realize it's happening in the first place. So bottom line there is never sign a deed or a power of attorney or any transfer document without legal advice.
All right, well, then evidently Tim fell for the alarmist ads that you mentioned earlier, because, man, they made it seem like this is the reason I invited you on to talk about this, because this ad made it seem like this is a real problem.
And then I fell for Tim's alarmist warning, and I said, we need to have Rob West on to talk about this.
Exactly.
Listen, I went online and started trying to figure out ways to protect myself. Now, so, Rob, now let me ask you this. This second one you talked about with the kind of quick claim, the signing over, does this especially target older people who might be confused? Maybe they're going to get a roof put on, and the person says, well, sure, we'll do it, and you won't have to worry about it. Just, sign your, just promise, use your house as collateral, and what you're really doing is signing it over. Does this hit certain age groups or what?
Yeah, exactly right. That's where it would happen typically with older folks where they don't understand what they're signing. There could be any number of tactics that get them to do that, but it's basically using that quitclaim deed to get you to sign over with a forged signature. It involves, fake paperwork, and, eventually they're using that to legally, because you're signatures on it, transfer that property over. And so the bottom line is, you never sign a deed or a power of attorney. Be skeptical of anyone offering quick cash or instant equity or foreclosure relief. That's often, how they're doing these. And then, just show, first of all, if somebody contacts you around that, hang up or don't respond. Yeah. But if you're really in a hardship, just get legal counsel before you sign anything.
All right, one other question I have. I've been contacted by this Nigerian prince, Rob, and
I told you it sounds like a great deal, Tim.
I'm thinking about it. Listen, what you mentioned about people who now, what I'm going to say, people who are vulnerable are what am I trying to do? Who are
Don't
naive. People who are naive.
Oh,
and think the best of people all the time.
Yes.
And we're all supposed to. We're all raised to, think.
I don't anymore.
I know.
I don't think the best of anybody.
That's a good.
I'm
but
suspicious.
I mean, my mother-in-law, God rest her soul, she passed away a few months ago. But my wife would often tell her, why did you answer that phone call? Why are you talking to these people?
Yeah.
You don't even know who they are.
Right.
And because my mother-in-law was, a nice lady.
I remember Ms. Brunch.
Yeah, she's very nice
lady.
But she would. Now she didn't ever fall for a complete thing that hurt her financially, but she did sign up for a couple of things that Alice got in the mail going, what is this? Why are you supporting this group? Anyway, what I'm saying is that what you said, Rob, you you need to, especially people need to be aware of this for their elderly parents, so that they can, keep them from doing something that they didn't mean to do, but they did nonetheless. Go ahead.
Well, that's exactly right. The number one scam in this demographic would be a government imposter, or they're claiming to be from Social Security, from Medicare, IRS.
Okay.
They say you owe money, there's a problem with your account, and they demand immediate payment. So they're never going to contact you by phone. It's always going to be through the mail.
Gotcha.
So you just need to automatically assume that's not legitimate. Another one would be tech support. You get a pop-up on your computer. It's infected. They ask for a remote access or a payment. And then there's the grandparent or family emergency scam. There's the romance scams. I mean, these things all kind of at the end of the day have the same underlying ideas. You got to act fast, and you got to give personal information. So I think, first of all, stop in your tracks, verify, don't trust, never pay anything with a gift card or a wire. Anytime somebody says you got to do this quickly or legal action is coming, just assume it's fraudulent. And, don't ever click on a link in an email or give information over the phone.
I got to say, my experience with the IRS, now I do want to be fair. I've never really had a problem with the IRS. When I have been able to reach them by phone, they've been very helpful. And so I do want to say that up front. But I will also say that trying to get a hold of the IRS on purpose by phone is hard enough. Yeah. I don't think the IRS, nobody at the Internal Revenue Service wastes time calling individuals on the phone. I'm not even sure their phones work half the time at the IRS. So do not think they're actually calling you on the phone.
Hey, Rob, thanks so much, my friend. Appreciate it very much. That's helpful information, okay? Thank you.
Thanks, gentlemen.
Okay, bye-bye. That's Rob West from Faith and Finance.
That makes me feel better.
Yeah, me too. Yeah. I still got to pay this toll.
It kills me that people that live in places with no toll roads are like, oh my, they fall for that.
That's not the way it works, though. I was telling Tim. Now we're talking, folks, if you're wondering, and I'm guessing some of our listeners have had a text message. From a state that is telling you that you visited.
Right.
And you use the toll, and you haven't paid on the tolls, because my wife and I went to visit my sister in Dallas several years ago, and there is a toll road or two that we had to use to get to her house. Okay, and so months later, after you pay the toll by mail, when you get a bill, then I got a text message, and it was from the Texas state or
Bureau of Motor or whatever.
Bureau, and it said you didn't pay this, and they want you to click a link, and then they're going to get information. And so they apparently knew that we had been to Texas.
Yeah, that's kind of scary.
It was weird.
Yeah, kind of scary. All right, well, anyway, spams and scams out there everywhere.
Scam a lot.
I had these folks calling me for like a month, almost every day, telling me I was pre-approved for a loan.
Yeah.
That I never applied for, and all they needed was a couple board minutes of information, and I would have my loan. Which if I'd ever called them back and given them my couple bits of information,
they would have had your loan.
They would have had my So anyway, the way to avoid scams is not do stupid stuff.
And
Rob could have said that, right?
Let me give you, folks. Let me just give you this piece of advice.
Right.
The way to not get scammed is to never answer phone calls. Never answer emails, and stay in your house.
Right.
Do not leave.
And do not be nice to people you don't know.
Just live off the grid.
All right. You're listening to today's issues on the American Family Radio Network. What's your first story, Chris?
A Mississippi mama made the mainstream media over the weekend because she shot one of those escaped research monkeys, and the mama said she did so to protect her kids.
Mama pajama rolled out of
For
bed.
people not aware of the long national nightmare we've been living in here in Mississippi.
Well played.
Last week, a truck carrying research monkeys overturned in Jasper County, Mississippi, which is an area southwest of Meridian, southeast of Jackson, along I-20 and I-59.
Now, let me just stop you there for a second, just so our listeners understand. These research monkeys, are these monkeys that do research, or are they researched on?
They're monkeys that are being researched on. For example, there were widespread reports in the hours immediately following the accident in which the monkeys escaped that the monkeys may be carrying all kinds of diseases, including COVID. And as a result, many people have been on edge in the Jasper, Mississippi area.
Been on edge.
Yes.
I don't even live. I'm a couple hundred miles away.
Yeah.
Yes. Well,
monkeys can move.
They can. They travel. They'll hotwire a car and be up here in this part of the state before you know it.
That's why you don't experiment on the monkeys. But anyway,
these research monkeys can drive a stick shift. I've seen it.
All right, so I don't know how many of the research monkeys were there. Many of them didn't leave, right?
They died.
The vast majority of them.
Yeah, some died, some were shot on scene. And a woman in Mississippi shot and killed one of the 3 rhesus monkeys that escaped after the truck carrying
What's
research
a rhesus
animals.
monkey? I know what a rhesus piece is.
Peanut butter in the middle and
rhesus, R-H-E-S-U-S, rhesus.
Okay.
Monkeys.
I'm sorry.
But anyway, the mama here went full mama bear and saw one of these monkeys on her property.
Shot it.
And she shot it, defending her family.
Just fit in right into the stereotype for our state.
Worst possible state.
Right.
Hey, if you're a research
the Mississippi mama unloads on the research
you escape
monkey.
A crash and you ask your buddy, where are we?
Right.
And he says, we're Mississippi.
And Tony, your son, said this morning that the taxidermist will be glad to do that monkey and not ask any questions.
You know that monkey wound up at the local taxidermist, and they're going to mount that head next to the deer.
All right, so anyway, we need to move on, but this story is funny, and yet it has its serious components.
I mean, it made Newsweek. I've seen similar stories on other major.
So are all the monkeys counted for, dead or alive, to borrow from Bon Jovi?
I've seen articles that still claim a couple of them.
There's a couple of them are loose still.
Would that mean they could procreate?
She shot one of the 3.
Could they procreate? And then 10 years from now, we're dealing with an anaconda situation, like a python, like in the Everglades. So Mississippi's just run amok.
We're all living in a
monkeys
bunker.
Everywhere.
And Brent's got his trail camera on.
Oh man, that's
Did that
funny.
not happen?
That's what happened with the ball python.
That's
in
what
Florida.
I'm saying.
And then we have like a Planet of the Apes situation where Elvis's statue has been replaced with a monkey.
We should never be gotten started on this.
All right, we better move on.
I will say this one. I think this is on a serious note. They did say it was some officials who were responsible for transporting these research monkeys to Tulane. I think it was Tulane University. They were saying, no, these monkeys are not disease-ridden or whatever.
Yes, I've seen.
However, and I've just gotten to the place where I go, I want to see proof. Government person telling me. Every time I saw pictures of the officials trying to look at the scene, they were all masked up and covered from head to toe.
Yes.
Hazmat, or whatever they call it.
It was close to being in a hazmat thing, and I thought, they're telling everyone there's nothing wrong with these monkeys, but they're showing up.
Right.
You were not the only one that feels that way, because one of the television stations I used to work for, I won't say their call letters, but I saw a social media post from the station saying, university says these were not disease-ridden monkeys, and the first person that commented at the bottom of the post said they always say this.
Yes, I'm sorry. I just go. I'm not sure I believe you.
All right. You're listening to today's issues. Next story, Chris.
Tomorrow is Election Day in various parts of the country.
Is it?
Yes, big races that we're continuing to watch involve New York City, where communist or socialist, depending on the person that's talking, Zorhan Mamdani is
What's
running
his name?
for mayor. Zohran Mamdani.
Okay.
He's running for mayor there against Andrew Cuomo and Republican Curtis Silva.
A lot of good choices there.
It looks like Mamdani's probably going to win that one. New Jersey is an interesting one because there's a couple of people running for governor. The Republican may actually win this one.
In a blue state?
In a blue state. due in part, I think, to what's going on there in New York City. The other big one that we're watching is the Virginia gubernatorial race. That's between former Representative Abigail Spanberger, a Democrat, and Republican Lieutenant Governor Winsome Sears, who's running for governor there. It looks like Spanberger may actually win this one because Northern Virginia is very liberal, and pretty much when you run for a statewide office, if you can win Fairfax and other areas.
But Sears won statewide 4 years ago.
She did.
In the lieutenant governor's race. So, it could be interesting. And also, you're watching that AG race there.
Yes, between Jason Miyares, the Republican who's currently lieutenant governor, and the Democrat who said years ago in a text message he wanted to shoot somebody.
Wait a minute. Did I get it wrong then? Is Winsome Sears not the lieutenant governor?
Yes, she's running for governor because Virginia has a rule that basically you serve one term as governor and then you step away to let somebody else have a go at it. That's why.
Although you can skip
run
a term
again.
and then run again.
Yeah, Glenn Youngkin could come back in 4 years if he wanted to.
Okay. But Winsome Sears is currently the lieutenant governor. You said someone else was.
Oh, yeah, I thought you mentioned the attorney general race.
I did.
In Virginia. That's between Jason Miyares and the Democrat that was saying things in text messages he should.
What was his name? Jay
Jones or Jay Johns?
Yeah. The one who had the text revealed that he was talking about killing, hoping that some people died, Republicans died or something like that.
Yeah,
and the kids too.
Yeah, the House Speaker at the time in Virginia and the State Assembly or the House of Delegates. Jay Johns.
People in Virginia know what we're talking about. It's big news there.
And Spanberger, actually, who's running for governor, she took a little bit of a hit, although she might still win, because she would not criticize the lieutenant governor running for the Democrat candidate for lieutenant governor, would not criticize him for those comments.
Yeah, when asked whether or not she would take back her endorsement of the Democrat running for attorney general, she would say things like, I want people to make their own decisions.
Yeah.
Which is a non-answer answer.
Well, you got to be able to condemn what he did outright.
Yeah.
Without,
I think she would have come out polling better out of that debate had she just been up front and said, you know what he said was wrong.
Yeah.
Yeah. And he didn't say it. He texted, and it was revealed by somebody who was recipient of the text I got. And it was awful. It was a
terrible thing.
It was a text that he had sent, a couple of years ago or something like that. This gentleman running for Attorney General of the state of Virginia.
And he defended it. He defended it.
He did?
He explained it. Let me put it this way. He explained it by saying we all sometimes text things that we wish we didn't. But but
the text was about shootings, killing people who are Republicans.
Everyone doesn't do that.
No, they don't. And that's
If a Republican had done this and made that claim, like everybody does this.
Oh gosh!
I mean, Anderson Cooper would be on CNN unshaven for the fourth day in a row.
All right, you're listening to today's issues. Mamdani, Zorhan
Mamdani.
Zorhan, I do. It sounds like, as I say, if that isn't a name made for a superhero, I don't know.
Right.
Zorhan Mamdani to the rescue.
But I think we should start saying it's a name for a super villain.
Right, yeah, well, like Jim Dandy was, He was Jim Dandy to the rescue, Zorhan Mamdani to the destruction of New York City.
Yep.
Okay, so there is a report out in the New York Post today that a poll was conducted of New Yorkers, and 800, let's see, there's close to, I'll just read you the headline from the New York Post.
I got it.
You got it? Go ahead.
Nearly 1 million, that's what you're talking about? Nearly 1 million New Yorkers ready to flee New York City if Mamdani, yes, we said Zorhan Mamdani, becomes mayor, possibly igniting the largest exodus in history. That's according to a poll this is 765,000 out of the 8.4 million residents who call New York City home. This was a survey conducted by JL Partners.
Yes. I saw a story. I've seen a couple of stories in the last 2 to 3 weeks about how New Jersey may have a housing crisis if people flee New York City to move to New Jersey because he's elected.
Anyway, now, whether people would do that or not, I guess it would depend on how bad it gets in New York City. Because it's easy to say, I'm out of here. Well, okay, well then put your house on the market, move your kids to a different school. I mean, there's a lot go.
It does.
People are speaking emotionally, I think. But still, if only half those people left,
right,
New York, the housing market would collapse. Seems to me. By the way, do you want to see how far left this guy is, Zorhan Mamdani? Barack Obama refuses to endorse him.
Now, I thought he campaigned for him. Did he not?
The Democrat nominee and proud socialist Zorhan Mamdani tried to downplay former President Barack Obama's refusal to offer up an endorsement over the weekend. With just one day left in the most watched races in the country.
Yeah.
Mamdani said, I appreciated the call with President Obama and his support for the movement that we have created. I appreciated his words and appreciated his times. But he didn't endorse him, according to this.
Huh.
We'll be back momentarily. Stay with us.
It's my turn.
Here is your host for My Turn, Don Wildmon.
There's a very ancient legend about a Persian ruler who had 4 sons. His sons were often critical of other people. This was a habit which the father detested very much, so he decided to teach his sons a lesson about being critical. One winter, he sent one of the sons on a journey to look at a mango tree. During the following spring, he sent another of the sons to visit the very same tree. When summer came, he sent the 3rd son to see the tree, and finally, that fall, he sent the 4th son to see the tree. Then the wise old king called all the sons together and asked them about the mango tree. The one who went in the winter described the tree as an old stump. The son who went in the spring said that the tree didn't look like an old stump, but that it was a very beautiful green. The 3rd son said that both of the reports were wrong. He was the son who had visited the tree in the summer, and he said that the tree was covered over with beautiful blossoms. Finally, the 4th son spoke up, the one who had visited the tree during the autumn. He said the tree had fruit which tasted like the finest of all fruits. After his sons had made their report, the father spoke. Each of you has told what you saw, and each of you is right. The difference is that each of you saw the tree at a different season. People are like that mango tree. They are bad and good. They are ugly and beautiful. You can see them in different seasons. Try to see each person as the last of you saw the mango tree at its best. Well, the truth of the matter is that each of us are both good and bad, beautiful and ugly. We can, if we desire, look for the bad and ugly in people, and if that is what we desire to see, then that is what we will see. But if we have enough love in us, we can also see the good and beautiful in people. It all depends on what we're looking for. None of us are without faults. It is true that our faults may not be the same as those of others, and it's equally as true that our faults may not be as glaring as those of others. But in either case, we cannot deny our faults. Carry criticism in your attitude if you desire. It will in no way benefit you. It will not gain for you any friends nor respect, neither will it make you a better person. It will only serve eventually to lead you to loneliness. For throughout the world you cannot find one person who enjoys the company of a continual critic. If you desire to enjoy people and have people enjoy you, then you must look for the good and beautiful. If you want a poem for it, here it is. There's so much good in the worst of us, and so much bad in the best of us, that it hardly becomes any of us to talk about the rest of us. And if you want a scripture for it, here it is. First remove the log which is in your eye, and then you can see to remove the speck which is in your brother's eye.
This has been My Turn with Don Wildmon, a production of the American Family Association.
In him we were also chosen, having been predestined according to the plan of him who works out everything in conformity with the purpose of his will. Ephesians 1, verse 11.
American Family Radio. This is Today's Issues. Email your comments to comments@afr.net. Past broadcasts of Today's Issues are available for listening and viewing in the archive at afr.net. Now, back to more of Today's Issues.
Welcome back to Today's Issues on the American Family Radio Network. Today's Issues is the name of this show, and we're here every Monday through Thursday. On Fridays, we have Trivia Friday, so join us for that. Do we have a guest, yes or no? No guest coming up this half hour. Let me mention, hold on a second. Popcorn.
Popcorn.
I can't resist that popcorn out there.
Listen,
Glad it's not a sin. Because it's definitely a temptation I give into.
Every once in a while, we'll have to walk down to go to American Family News, walk past. Just you get down here, this part of the building, it's on the ground floor, and you smell that popcorn, and it just wants to reel you in. It's like walking into a movie theater, and you smell it, except our popcorn smells even better.
It's fresher and better. Yeah. Or more awesomer, as you say.
It's more awesomer. Way.
Real quickly, let me mention, in the year 2026, if the world doesn't end,
if the Lord tarries,
or the Lord tarries and the world doesn't end,
the year 2025.
Let me caveat that. We got a few tours that we're going to do, which are going to be wonderful, and we're excited about them. Let me mention, first of all, Walker and Wesley Wildmon, my sons, are going to lead a group to Greece in March on the Footsteps of Paul tour. And then we, my wife and I, Allison and Alex McFarland, we're going to lead a group to the Holy Land in March as well. So we got those two tours coming up.
Now, can I just ask a question?
You can. Ask away.
Somebody could do these back to back.
They could. That's right. They can, and some are.
Yeah.
Some people are doing them back to back. We've scheduled these tours back to back, that is Israel and Greece, so that you can do both if you want to. What that means is you go with us to Israel, Allison and me, and then you take a plane trip from Tel Aviv to Greece, which is about an hour and a half or 2 hours, I think, maybe 3. And then you join the Footsteps of Paul tour.
Right. Missionary journeys.
Yeah, both of them are in March. And so those tours, and then we've got coming up in 2026, we've got tours to Colonial Williamsburg, Jamestown, and Yorktown. That's in June and September, and those are back to back with our nation's capital trip, Washington D.C. and Mount Vernon. So that's a week. If you want to go with us for a week, we'll take care of you for a week, Saturday to Sunday, actually. We'll take care of you, and you'll see all those things I just mentioned: Williamsburg, Jamestown, Yorktown, Washington, D.C., and Mount Vernon. So that's June and September. And then we got a September trip to go to see all the history of Boston.
I'm going to see if I can work my schedule out to go on.
All right. Boston, the Boston area, so much history there. So that trip is scheduled for September as well. So for the itinerary, the cost, everything you want to know about any of that I just mentioned, any of those tours, just go to this website, WILDMON GROUP, WildmanGroup.com. Everything is there. WILDMON GROUP.com, WildmanGroup.com. And so join us in 2026 for one of our tours that I just mentioned. You're listening to Today's Issues on AFR. What's your next story, Chris?
Well, in recent days, the Trump administration designated Nigeria a, quote, country of particular concern due to a rise in Christian persecution. This has been a big story, understandably so, because our brothers and sisters in Christ in Nigeria are suffering because of their faith. I've got several bits of audio here that we can play. Beginning with this one from President Trump, who was asked over the weekend whether or not U.S. troops might deploy to Nigeria because of the Christian persecution over there. Clip 9.
Could be. I mean, a lot of things I envisage, a lot of things. They're killing record numbers of Christians in Nigeria. And they have other countries very bad also. You know that part of the world, very bad. They're killing the Christians and killing them in very large numbers. I'm not going to allow that to happen.
It's President Trump. You can tell he's aboard Air Force One.
Correct.
And he'll come out from his the place reserved for him on Air Force One, and he'll just do a Q&A with reporters. I mean, for whatever you may think about President Trump, you got to give the guy total credit for being accessible to the media, even liberal media, to ask questions. Unlike Biden, the former president, they locked him up. And
steps out of bed and they call a lid on.
They kept him away from any questions from the media, and we all know why now. But President Trump, he takes all comers. He did a 60 Minutes interview that aired on Sunday too. So, but what he's doing there, the subject he's talking about, he was asked about the Nigerian Christians, which this story has been overshadowed by other international stories. But there's a big population, hundreds of thousands of Christians who live in the country of Nigeria in Africa, and they are being besieged by the Islamic terrorists right there from the north of the country. Have I got that accurate?
Yes. Yeah. Nigeria has a population of 236 million people.
And the butchery is just awful. What butchery isn't, right? I mean, what I'm saying is awful in terms of the numbers. And we're trying to get the Voice of the Martyrs on. We're going to have the gentleman on.
Todd Nettleton?
Todd, we'll have him on maybe tomorrow to talk about the situation there in Nigeria. I know a lot of people listening to us know people in Africa and Central Africa and maybe Nigeria and other missionaries all around Africa that many of us support. So, of course, Africa is a big continent, but Nigeria is one of the largest countries, right?
Mm-hmm. Right.
In Africa. What do you know about this, Ed?
Well, and by the way, we're going to play a clip from Bill Maher, who's a liberal, a classical liberal. In fact, why don't we go ahead and play this because, and I forget who he had on. It seems like it was Nancy Mace.
It is Nancy Mace, yes.
The Congresswoman, and he. I will give credit to Bill Maher because he does see things from a classical liberal perspective, but he noted the lack of coverage of this. This is probably 3 weeks ago, maybe a month, but I appreciated what he had to say. Let's go ahead and play that clip, and then we'll come back.
Clip 11.
If you don't know what's going on in Nigeria, you are in a bubble. And again, I'm not a Christian, but they are systematically killing the Christians in Nigeria. They've killed over 100,000 since 2009. They've burned 18,000 churches. This is so much more. These are their Islamists, Boko Haram. This is so much more of a genocide attempt than what is going on in Gaza. They are literally attempting to wipe out the Christian population of an entire country. Where are the kids protesting this?
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you. Because no one will talk about it, so thank you.
Absolutely.
It's Africa. That's why no one's talking about it, and they should be. You can't read about it in mainstream media. It's sad, so thank you for bringing it up.
Well, because the Jews aren't involved. That's why. It's the Christians and the Muslims. Who cares?
Yeah, he was being sarcastic there. Bill Maher is the voice you heard. He was saying it's not the Jews. In other words, everyone wants to protest and complain and file, this resolution in the UN and this and that resolution when it's Israel fighting, when they were fighting the war in Gaza. Everybody cared, but it's Muslims killing Christians. Who cares is what he was saying. He was being sarcastic.
I didn't realize this, but Nigeria has 230 million people. It is the most populous country in Africa. So
I didn't know it was the most populous.
So let me just say this: when we get when we get Todd on from the
Voice of the Martyrs,
he can fill in the details of what I'm about to say. But what you got going on here? You got Muslims trying to impose Sharia law and trying to wipe out the Christians because they're not Muslims.
Yes.
Am I right?
Yes, and killing them in horrifying fashion. I was looking at a story from NPR. This is from July, but they were talking about yet another village wiped out, 160 people people killed with rifles, machetes, and some of them, they burned them alive in their homes. They wouldn't let them out, threatening them with being shot, and then they were burned alive in their homes.
Where was that Boko Haram?
That's in Africa.
Haram? You remember them, reading about them?
They were basically ISIS before ISIS became a household name.
Right. Yeah. It's not to say, as we always say, that all Muslims obviously are not bloodthirsty savages. Sure. I mean, the vast majority of Muslims are like everybody else. They just want to live in peace and have, a good life. But there is an ideology within Islam that says we've got to conquer the world by
kill the infidel.
And if only 5 to 10% of Muslims subscribe to that, which is probably about right, then that's what you get with ISIS. That's what you get with Saddam. Excuse me, with what was the guy who masterminded 9/11?
Osama bin Laden.
Osama bin Laden. That's what you get with Osama bin Laden. That's what you get with ISIS. That's what you get with Al Qaeda. That's what you get with Hamas. That's what Hamas is political and religious, but that's what you get with the Muslim Brotherhood. These groups, their ideology, they have their splinter groups. They have different names, but their ideology is for Islam to conquer the world by force, and that's why there's the people worried about what's happened to a lot of native Europeans are worried about this mass immigration. Millions and millions of people have come into Europe, especially Western Europe,
from the Muslim world
over the last 10 to 20 years. Just mass immigration. And the people of Western Europe, many of them have been weak on this issue and just let everybody in, and now they're suffering the consequences of it big time. And Europe will fall in the next 50 years. By that I mean you will not have Europe as we know it will not exist. You will have Muslims starting to rise up to 20, 30, 40, who knows, 50% of the populations of these countries. That's what's going to happen. France is already 10% Muslim. France is. They're having a big problem in the UK and Scandinavian countries with crime caused by these people who come in to their countries illegally from North Africa, from the Middle East. Now, again, it's a mix of good and bad. You got a lot of people who just wanted to immigrate from these countries because they want a better life. It's kind of like people flood over our border from Central American countries, right? Because they want a chance at a better life. They don't like the poverty that they live in. Same thing with a lot of these immigrants from North Africa and from the Middle East. They just want to come to Europe because they see, well, it's a chance at a better life for my family and me.
Right.
So,
but to your point, even if it's only 10% of Muslim immigrants, I'm looking at the Pew Research Center says in the 6-year period between 2010 and 2016, 3.7 million Muslims migrated to Europe. Okay. Now, Europe is about 300 million people, so you go, well, that's not really that much. But if you only take 10% of a group that large and say that's the number of radicals you have, okay, then 10% of 3.7 million, what is that? Is that 370,000? I'm probably, there's math people out there screaming. But you're talking about a lot of people.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You're talking about a lot of people who can do harm. And when you're talking about people walking around a big city like London with a knife.
Yeah, did you see what happened there?
Yeah. Now I don't know the details.
We haven't talked about that story yet.
Yeah, I don't know the details about the one who was arrested or who perpetrated this crime, but just walk around with a knife stabbing people.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, my first thought was, is this an Islamic terrorist attack? That's what I thought.
Yeah.
He
may have been mentally unstable.
We can cover this story here and get to the facts of it. But my point is, how many of those do you think it takes to turn London into a war zone? You don't have to have 3.7 million.
The the native Irishmen are really upset and on edge because their government's been allowing this mass immigration into their country, and it's creating real problems.
Rapes have gone skyrocketed in these countries.
Right.
I saw over the weekend a woman arrested by the police for simply saying, this is a Christian country, we don't want Muslims here, telling us to become Muslim. And they showed video.
They arrested her?
She was arrested.
And where? In Britain?
It was in the UK.
Yeah.
And so what I'm saying is it doesn't take that many radicals when you're talking 3.7 million. I see another article here says over 10 million Muslim immigrants in Europe. I don't know what the time period is. It doesn't take a lot of radicals to turn Europe into a war zone.
And if you want a recipe for a disaster, you combined letting these secular progressives in Europe be elected to leadership, and then you put so that they're bleeding hearts. They let everybody in, take care of everybody. Everybody's good. Everybody has good intentions, and here you are. If you have that kind of approach, then they're going to kill you. If I say they're going to kill you, I mean, eventually they're going to kill the country, take over the country. These Islamic terrorists that are going to flood in and the criminal activity is going to get out of hand, going to get crazy, because these political leftists, they do not deal in reality on this. They don't. If we say Islamic radicalism, they say that doesn't exist.
Right.
That's what they'll tell you. That doesn't
That's
exist.
Islamophobia.
That's Islamophobia.
That's not the real Islam.
That's what they'll tell you.
Yeah.
They live in that denial world,
yeah,
which has sometimes turned into a reaction from the right, like the election of the prime minister in Italy.
Yes.
What's her name?
Is it Merloni?
But she's for shutting down immigration altogether, I believe.
Giorgia Meloni.
Yeah, but she's right wing.
Mm-hmm.
And there's been the guy in the Netherlands was a right-wing response to this. What was his name? He got a lot of international attention for being...
I will not pronounce his name.
For warning against open immigration into the country.
It's weird that the political left, in bending over backwards to allow Muslim immigration into Europe, says... Listen, we're just trying to be nice and we're trying to be, welcoming. They're actually going to undermine their own political position and cause the rise of the right wing in response to the problems they're having from a lot of these immigrants.
Yes.
It's
what was the fella in the Netherlands?
The guy that was just recently elected?
Yes. Well, he's being challenged. I don't know how recently it was. But this guy got a lot of attention for warning against letting the Muslims flood into Europe. He got criticized for being Islamophobic.
Yeah, I don't think it's the prime minister-elect because he is a liberal. Actually, 38-year-old Rob Jetten secured a historic win in the election to beat Geert Wilders of the far-right party.
Wilders.
Yeah.
Rob Jetten is a liberal who's a...
So
Geert Wilders has been warning for a decade.
Wasn't he elected? In the Netherlands
I think he was okay. I'm not as up on European politics as I should be. I think wasn't he in like the parliament or something? I think he was in the parliament.
Well, I thought he was elected president.
No, because there's a People magazine story. Netherlands elects its youngest first openly gay prime minister.
Well,
and it's not Geert Wilders.
That's not him. No. All right, you're listening to today's issues on American Family Radio. Next story, Chris.
Do you want to mention the train situation?
Yes.
Yeah.
For those who don't know.
Yes.
Horrifying.
So I want to take a moment just to direct everybody to our Today's Issues Facebook page where I have posted this Daily Mail article. And the reason I posted the Daily Mail article is because they have images from surveillance video of what the news outlet itself calls a nightmare on Platform 2. Terrifying new video shows train knifemen following screaming passengers as they run for their lives in Cambridgeshire attack that hurt 11 people. Some of those people are still in the hospital. in this article, it talks about how this was initially believed to be a terrorist attack. However, authorities did say on Sunday it's no longer believed to be a terrorist attack. Nonetheless, a crazy guy.
The guy was mentally ill.
Mm-hmm. Yes, the attacker.
He was known.
Correct.
So it wasn't a Muslim. A radical Muslim attack.
Yeah,
it was a guy was crazy.
Yes, but given that it's the UK and the situations you just discussed, that generally is what you lead to. You jump.
That was terrifying to watch because that guy had more than a knife.
Mm-hmm.
That was like it looked like
a butcher's knife or something.
Yeah, halfway between a knife and a machete.
Yes.
Yeah,
it was awful.
And it's well documented in terms of the images.
Now you can't have a gun in Great Britain, right?
I believe
you can have. I think you can have some shotguns. It's very
for hunting.
Even that's very strictly controlled.
Yeah, but you can't carry like you can in the U.S.
You can't carry.
So somebody couldn't take this guy out.
No,
they had to just sit there and try to run the best they can. But they're defenseless.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right?
Unless you pick up a pipe or something. But to your point, you can't. It's not like here. No one's going to pull that Alabama or Texas.
No, they'll be shot dead.
They'll be shot dead.
You start butchering people on a bus or a train, and like you said in most of the U.S., you're going to be shot dead.
Mm-hmm.
You're not going to be able to get away with it. Which
By the way, just your earlier question, Gert Wilders, he has been a member of the Dutch House of Representatives since 1998, but he is the leader of the Party for Freedom, which is a conservatives. They are often described as far right, but that's just.
But he's been warning against this unlimited mass immigration into Europe from
probably since 2006.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. He has led this as it's defined him as the far right Party for Freedom since founding it in 2006.
Now, some liberals would say we don't care whether our country's flooded by illegal immigrants. That we don't believe in borders anyway.
Right.
That's.
And they'll say we welcome them here.
That's it. That's.
They welcome them here, but not to their secluded neighborhoods.
Right.
Well,
right.
what's okay. I should have stayed on the subject of the monkeys because I was a lot happier talking about the escaped monkeys in Mississippi.
Right.
As was I.
Okay, but these people think they're going to be ultimately going to be safe in their gated communities. That's not how this works.
Mm-hmm.
Once you lose your country, you lose the protection of your gated community too. But like you said, Tim, these liberals do not live in the real world, and they don't ever want to say the hard things about reality, either because they don't believe it or they don't want to be called Islamophobic.
Right. You remember after 9/11, and everybody knew that these attackers were Al Qaeda. They were Islamic terrorists.
Yes.
And yet, the people on the left and a lot of people in the mainstream media, they didn't even want to say that. Remember, Obama wouldn't even say it.
Right.
Mm-hmm. It's like, why won't you even? If it was a white supremacist attack, would you say, well, these were just people?
Yes.
We don't know what drove their ideology. No, they would be screaming from the roof.
It's what the Biden administration did. White supremacy, the greatest threat in Christian
to America,
to our democracy.
Yeah, that's what Biden said. He said white supremacists they're the number one threat to the country. And then he said, I'm not saying this just because y'all are black. Remember that?
Right. Right.
Speaking to a black audience, going, the white supremacist boogeyman out there, he's going to get you.
Mm-hmm.
Remember? And I was just thinking to myself, I don't know what's causing the delay among the white supremacists, but they are not. They're not coming forth with their attacks.
They're not on the ball, are they?
They're not doing They're not holding up to Biden's prediction that they're the number one threat to the world.
Folks, that was tongue in cheek. Obviously, I would criticize white supremacy just like Islamic radicals.
Oh yeah,
but we're making fun of the Biden administration's.
Well, I'm just saying, people on the left, if it's a white supremacist threat, they're not going to say we're not going to talk about white people in general.
Right.
But you say it's an Islamic terrorism threat, they say, "Oh no, you can't say Islamist terror. You're generalizing."
Yeah, and you're criticizing all Muslims.
But they don't say white supremacists. They don't say you're criticizing all white people.
Right.
You can't do that.
Because they were actually criticizing all white people.
Right. All right, we'll be back in a couple of minutes with more of today's issues.
We're going to talk about monkeys. Monkeys riding dogs.
Are we? Monkeys. Anyway, we'll talk about Davy Jones more when we get back from this short timeout.
The views and opinions expressed in this broadcast may not necessarily reflect those of the American Family Association or American Family Radio.
Faith, family, freedom. American Family Radio.
Do you know the largest unpaid and untrained workforce in America? It's not in a factory or an office. It's the 65 million family caregivers. And if that is you, I understand the journey you're on.
Peter Rosenberger has been a caregiver for 4 decades. He's the host for Hope for the Caregiver, Saturday mornings at 7 Central on AFR.
This is American Family Radio, a listener-supported ministry of the American Family Association.
American Family News, I'm Rusty Pugh. Republicans and Democrats remain at odds over the ongoing government shutdown, which is now in its 34th day. Chad Pergram reporting from Capitol Hill.
Everyone is watching to see if the Trump administration frees up food aid based on the SNAP judgments last week. Lots of Republicans are making predictions that the government shutdown could end soon. But Republicans predicted the government would reopen days after it closed in October. They also believe that Democrats would cave after the No Kings rallies. This week's elections, coupled with air traffic control issues, exploding health care premiums, and SNAP benefits, are the latest inflection points. The funding bill only runs until November 21st, so even that bill is quickly becoming moot.
And the impacts are being felt at airports across the country with many flight delays and cancellations. Brooke Taylor has more from Dallas-Fort Worth International Airport.
We're keeping an eye on how things are going today, especially because over the weekend we saw thousands of delays at some of our busiest airports. And the Transportation Secretary Sean Duffy says things are only going to get much worse as this government shutdown continues. The latest advisory shows staffing triggers at traffic control centers right now in New York and Philly. Over the weekend, the FAA said there were staffing issues at half of their facilities. So that included Nashville, Tennessee, Jacksonville, Florida, Austin, Texas, Denver, Colorado, and Northern California. Nearly 80% of controllers were absent from New York area facilities.
Election day is tomorrow, and the candidates for New York City mayor are making their final pitch to voters. Polls still show socialist candidate Zorhan Mamdani in the lead over independent candidate Andrew Cuomo and Republican candidate Curtis Sliwa. Sliwa has rejected calls to drop out of the race, saying the people will decide the next mayor, not political insiders and billionaires.
I trust people. I don't trust politicians. I don't trust billionaires. And I don't trust the insiders. So that's my final words. And I end my campaign as I began my campaign and spent every day of my campaign with the people of New York City on the subway.
Tylenol's parent company has been sold. Jenny Casola reports.
Kenvue, the former Johnson & Johnson unit that makes Tylenol, Band-Aid, Neutrogena, and many other health products, is being sold to Kimberly-Clark, which makes Huggies diapers, Kleenex, and Cottonelle. Kimberly-Clark is paying more than $40 billion plus debt. It has been looking to expand into more products in health and wellness. President Trump has warned that acetaminophen, the active ingredient in Tylenol, is a potential cause of autism. Kenvue has called the claims baseless. Kimberly-Clark says it carefully considered all risks and opportunities while evaluating the Kenvue deal.
A new poll finds many Americans think we ought to roll back the COVID abortion drug policy from the Biden administration. Chris Woodward has more.
7 in 10 likely voters want to roll back the Biden-era policy and reinstate in-person doctor visits in order for a woman to be prescribed abortion drugs. Kelsey Pritchard of Susan B. Anthony Pro-Life America.
This poll really shows that it's not only the right thing to do to end mail order abortions, but it's the politically smart thing to do for the administration.
Another finding, 57% of liberal voters are in favor of rolling back the Biden-era policy. Pritchard said that should speak volumes to the Food and Drug Administration, which has maintained this Biden rule that allows for the mail-order abortion drugs.
They can end that rule today and go back to the policy that was in place under Trump's first administration, and we're urging them to do so as soon as possible so that more women and girls don't end up in the ER and to save more unborn children.
Pritchard urges people to share this information with pro-life legislators, governors, and/or attorneys general to make sure that they know that this is very important and a common-sense move for the Trump administration.
We need to get to common sense here and end this Biden rule.
I'm Chris Woodward.
At this hour, the S&P 500 virtually unchanged. The Dow Jones Industrial Average down 303 points. And the NASDAQ Composite is 0.4% higher. There's more news online at afn.net. And download the AFN mobile app for your Apple or Android device. I'm Rusty Pugh.
The mission of AFA is to inform, equip, and activate individuals and families to strengthen the moral foundations of American culture and give aid to the church here and abroad in its task of fulfilling the Great Commission. AFA upholds the truth that all human beings, including the unborn, are created in the image of God and are worthy of life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness.
Thank you for standing with the American Family Association.
Today's Issues continues on AFR with your host, Tim Wildmon, president of the American Family Association.
Hey, welcome back, everybody, to today's Issues on the American Family Radio Network. Thanks for listening to AFR. I'm Tim Wildmon with Ed Battagliano and now Steve Paisley-Jordahl.
Good morning and afternoon, everybody.
Good morning, Brother Steve. Well, did you have a good weekend, Steve?
Yeah, I did. Watched a little bit of football. Watched the NASCAR championship race.
Did you watch the World Series?
I did. I watched the Game 7 of the World Series. My wife was on a girls' weekend out. One of her best friends, they were down at a beach in Florida.
You were zombie.
I had all kinds of time without having to do anything.
I wonder what your den looks like.
It's actually, I have to have
cleaned up?
I have to clean it up by the time she gets home, or else it stresses her out. I don't want a stressed out wife. I just don't. So.
Well, if
clean up the pizza boxes.
You had that World Series.
That was something.
If you missed that, sorry you did.
That's going to go down as one of the best, I'm guessing, in history.
Game 7. It's like a Hollywood movie. I mean, or something. When you're a kid in your backyard and you're going, it's Game 7 of the World Series.
Right.
Yeah. And Tim Wildmon is up in his ninth inning, 2 outs.
Yep.
Boom, there goes a homer. It was like that. And
several games were.
Yeah, one of them went 18 innings.
Yeah.
So I felt bad for the Toronto Blue Jays fans.
They were so close.
Well, and they were at a fever pitch.
Yeah.
In their home stadium. It's the bottom of the ninth. It's the top of the ninth, and they're ahead 4-3, and there's 1 out. All they need is 2 little outs.
Yeah.
They're world champs for the first time in 30-something years.
They hit a home run.
Max Muncy.
Yeah, Max Muncy.
Max Muncy hit a home run.
No, he hit a home run
to deep right at the top of the ninth.
No, he didn't.
No, he didn't? Okay,
no,
my information is wrong.
Just tell me when I can talk.
Your turn.
Okay, can I talk now?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Where are you learning this kind of interruption behavior,
I don't
Steve?
know.
From the master.
I deserve that. I did. So, Steve.
Yes.
What happened was that Muncy, is it Mincy or Muncy?
Muncy.
He hit a home run in the top of the 8th.
I see what I did wrong.
Yeah, that's why I'm here.
Thank you.
And it became 4-3.
Yep.
And then 4-3.
4-3.
And then in the top of the 9th inning, that
Miguel Rojas.
He boomed one out to tie it 4-4, send it in extra innings, and then in the 11th inning, the Dodgers ended up winning. By the way, you know how they say in sports sometimes it's a game of inches? Yeah. Well, the Toronto Blue Jays were 1 inch away from winning the World Championship in the bottom of the 9th. And their player was out at home plate
on a force out
by an inch. I'm literally an inch.
And I'll say this: it was very close just watching because the bases were loaded, 1 out, and it was a force out at home, and it was close. You could see in terms of when the catcher got the ball with his foot on the home plate and the player sliding. But I read all kinds of comments that said, well, why did he slide? That takes a second longer unless you dive head first, stretch your hand out, or just run through the plate. That you might have gained that half a second that would have won it. And I thought, well, that's a good point. Also, the player did not have a big lead off third base.
No.
You're talking about winning the World Series.
He's the GOAT. He deserves to be kicked out of town.
The other kind of GOAT.
The other kind of GOAT. Yeah, not the good GOAT, greatest of all time. Anyway, it was a fun World Series. Even if you don't follow baseball, just the human drama of everything hanging on every pitch was quite remarkable to see. All right. You're listening to today's issues on American Family Radio. Next story.
We have a new woke problem that we have to worry about. We thought we were done with wokeness, but apparently not.
Good.
So I got to tell you, this is serious, guys. We have to pay attention to this and take
serious,
care of this.
Clark?
Serious wokeness.
Okay.
Let's just listen to cut 15.
Guys, it happened again. I was out minding my own business, not bothering anybody, and I got mispigmented. I was at the Dollar Tree. I was picking up some wave caps for the 360 waves I'm growing out. And this guy behind me is like, I didn't know white guys needed those things. And I said, excuse me? Did you just dead skin me? And he's like, what are you talking about? I'm like, what am I talking about? I was assigned white at birth by a doctor, but I identify as a black man.
Yeah, it's a problem.
Yeah.
It shows you how ridiculous all that garbage is, huh?
It is indeed.
So he dead skinned him.
Dead skinned
him. Now that's pretty. That's brilliant. That's kind of a brilliant take on how crazy the woke ideology is. What did he say? I was at birth. What did he say?
I was assigned white at birth.
Assigned white at birth, but I now identify
as black.
Wow. Well, this just goes to how so stupid that whole movement is.
It's exactly that stupid, but they take it seriously when it's about gender or sex.
And nobody takes it more seriously than the left.
No kidding.
I mean, they don't joke.
Don't misgender people.
Oh my goodness.
But the same people who would say a boy can call himself a girl and you're supposed to go with it. If you say you're a black man or a white man, if I said I'm a 7-foot Chinese woman, they would say, no, you're actually nuts.
Right.
That's what you are.
Yes.
But if I say, no, I'm a girl, they would say,
you're good to go.
They would say, okay, I'm good with that. Even though, same thing.
It's exactly the same thing.
Yeah, same thing. But I don't know what the. Well, I do know why that is, but anyway.
I identify as a research monkey, but not in Mississippi.
No,
you don't
down in Mississippi.
You don't want to be hunted down, shot.
I'm sorry, I just had to bring the monkeys back.
The monkeys are back.
Hey.
You're listening to today's issues on American Family Radio. Go ahead, Steve.
We've been talking a little bit about the elections that are going to be going on tomorrow. We've got, of course, the New York City mayoral election. Zorhan Mamdani is leading that. Looks like he's got a
What's
good
his
chance
name?
of winning. Zorhan Mamdani.
Okay.
And but I got to tell you, we're getting some indications that this isn't all in the up and up. There are some irregularities going on, and this is from James O'Keefe, who went in undercover, and there's a group in New York called La Jornada, and it is an immigrant support group. They're supposed to be helping people with immigration issues from the time they get here till they're settled.
Yeah.
And their executive director, according to James O'Keefe, their executive director, Pedro Rodriguez, was telling an undercover journalist with O'Keefe's media group how to vote if you're an immigrant. They'll sign you up, register you to vote, and tell you to vote for the guy with an M. He's not registered, but they advise him on how to vote, a potential violation of the federal and state election laws. They are telling this, and they did hundreds of these immigrants that come in and get registered to vote and then are going to be voting.
Illegal immigrants?
Illegally voting. Well, even if they're legal and they're immigrants, unless they're citizens, they're not allowed to vote.
Right.
You shouldn't. But this is what this group. And then in North Carolina, where we've got another race going here, the Republicans have caught Democrats, they say, paying for votes, $100 per vote. This is a text thread from this guy that says, "How do I get paid?" This is a guy that's texting a supposed Democrat representative. "I can't afford my electric bill. How long till I get money after I vote? Can you do direct deposit or does it get mailed?" And this Democrat official says, "After you vote, one of our team members will meet you in her car near your polling place and pay you cash money. We can arrange transportation if you need it." And they've got a couple of these email chains that they say.
So the accusation is we have these, what appears to be the promise of cash for votes for Democrats.
Yes.
And the accusation is that if it's going on with a couple of people, it's probably going on with more. But, of course, it's going to be very difficult to prove any of this unless you have some sort of a sting.
Or a text.
Well, I mean, a text, you could get it. They might say, "I was just kidding." I'm saying it's going to be very difficult to prove that.
Yeah.
But it's why more and more people are very suspicious about our voting system, and why some people are advocating going back to paper ballots. Wouldn't necessarily solve this problem, but at least you'd have confidence that you can do a recount if you need to.
Our elections may not be as secure as some would want to have you believe.
Or as you would want.
Or as you would want, for sure. For sure.
It's the lifeblood of our republic.
All right. We've also been talking a lot about the ICE and its problems doing its job in some of these cities like Chicago and New York City, and Oregon, Portland. There's been a lot of violence that's going along with some of these ICE arrests. I've seen people jumping up and down and throwing things at cars. One lady even tried to open the door and tried to pull someone that was being arrested for immigration violation out of the car. And the ICE agent had to come around and actually pull a gun on her to have her get back. Victor Davis Hanson is talking a little bit about this. And do you guys know your history? I know, Ed, you do. Do you know what nullification is?
I do too, but go ahead.
Yes, you do, Ted. But,
yes, I'm familiar. I'm not an expert on this. I'm familiar with nullification.
I am.
Tim is an
expert.
I know.
I'm an expert.
Should I just tell him to keep you from having to... Yeah.
Go ahead, Steve. I'll fact check you as we go here.
Thank you. Nullification is the idea that a state has the right to invalidate or nullify a federal law if it thinks it's unconstitutional. And that is what these cities and some of these states are doing. They say that the immigration laws, what ICE is doing, is wrong or unconstitutional, and they are nullifying, saying don't enforce these laws. It's happened before. You know when the last time nullification, well, maybe not the last time, but the time where nullification got its bad reputation was during the Civil War, when the South nullified all kinds of laws regarding slavery, etc. And Victor Davis Hanson is talking a little bit about this, and I want you to hear what he has to say, cut 12.
We're starting to see a neo-Confederate nullification movement among the contemporary left in general, in particular the Democratic Party. There are governors who openly, literally, candidly says that federal immigration law shall not be enforced in their state, county, and local municipal jurisdiction. They haven't read Article 6 of the Constitution, and they're completely ignorant of history and where nullification of federal law leads to. When federal law died, each side nullified it, and they began to carry on violence against one another. What we're seeing now is open street violence. Once you nullify federal law and once you glorify violence, we know where it's going to lead. It leads from Bleeding, Kansas to Harpers Ferry to Fort Sumner. And they're playing with fire, and it's very dangerous for the Republic, and it's time for the left to stop.
Well, go ahead.
I just want to say first, and then we can talk about the content here.
Yeah.
Brent Creeley, I'm talking about Brent Creeley, our producer. I want, maybe if it takes till next week, it's okay. I want music playing underneath whenever I'm talking.
You want that music?
I want music, serious music, playing underneath my.
So people get the full impact of your words.
Absolutely.
With some drama music.
Because that Victor David Hanson, I really
He's a
like.
scholar.
He's a scholar,
Yeah.
and he sees things clearly. But it even makes his words even weightier when you have music underneath it. So
it does.
Brent,
Good point.
work on that. See if we can get some music.
That's a 10.
Underneath.
That's about a 10-minute video from Victor Davis Hanson, and what I played you was the summary that he put at the beginning.
Okay, you know what? I'm just gonna don't misunderstand me when I'm about to role play here a contrarian on this. I don't believe my own words necessarily. I'm just thinking out loud.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a state rights guy, which is the 10th Amendment, right, of the U.S. Constitution.
In part, of those powers not given to the federal
I
government.
basically believe
the
the role of the federal government needs to be very limited with respect to states. States need to be able to decide for themselves how they're going to govern their citizens, as long as it's consistent with the United States Constitution. Those states all agreed to submit to the United States Constitution when they asked to join the Union. Am I right?
Yes.
Get amen?
That's how they
Can I get
join.
amen?
Yep.
Amen.
All right, so that being said, one of the few roles that the federal government should have is controlling the borders of the country, because we can't allow for each state to decide they are not going to abide by federal immigration laws. That's insane. What if Montana or Maine say, we don't care, anybody come into our state, and they're a border state? No, because that affects the whole country. That affects the rest of us. You can't decide to ignore federal immigration law. Are y'all tracking with me here?
I'm waiting to hear something contrary.
Okay, so what I'm saying, it sounded contrarian when I say Victor Davis Hanson is arguing for obedience to federal law, or you're a rebel. That's what he's saying.
Right.
And I'm saying that argument can be turned around, and we would be saying exactly what the left is saying on terms of states' rights if it were an issue that we favored sometimes. Do you follow me what I'm saying here?
Okay, you kind of lost me in that last part.
Well, it's deep.
Yeah.
I agree. But what I'm saying to you is, and I'm getting a little sidetracked here, don't let me forget to where I was a few minutes ago. States' rights is usually a conservative claim.
Right.
The left is using states' rights as a claim.
Right.
On disobeying or not complying with federal law as it relates to immigration. All right?
Right.
Okay, go ahead.
The 10th Amendment, though, is pretty specific about this. And it is if the Constitution does not assign it itself, in other words, if it's not under the Constitution, then the states get to do it. But immigration is addressed by the Constitution. Therefore, when they are saying don't enforce it, that's the nullification part.
All right, let me also say this. Listen, as I've said before, it never looks good when any kind of law enforcement agency has to physically manhandle people. I don't care what the circumstance is, unless it's just some terrible, violent criminal that they arrest where everybody's cheering the arrest. It doesn't matter if they have to slam him against the ground or not. We're all going yes. But it never looks good to the general public when, okay, I saw a woman being arrested in the the Salt Lake City airport. This was like the last 3 days. And she's a little 4'10" Hispanic lady, all right? And you got these two plainclothes ICE agents walk up to her in the airport and they arrest her. She's being charged. What she had done was, allegedly, her name was on a list where I guess she was getting ready to fly somewhere, and her name was on a list because in 2002, she ignored she was supposed to appear for a deportation, to be able to stay in the country legally, and she ignored that. She did not comply with the law, and she's been able to live here for 20 plus years without interference, basically. But she's not a citizen. She doesn't even have a green card or anything like that. She's just here illegally, but she ignored the deportation. You follow me here? Mm-hmm. So these ICE agents go in and arrest her. Now, I don't know if she had a rap sheet or not. She may have a criminal. I don't know. But me watching that, I'm going, I can't believe these two big guys are putting handcuffs on this little woman and taking her away to who knows where is she going. It didn't look good.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? So you have so that never looks good. Well, that's going on all across America right now. President Trump warned. He said this will be the biggest mass deportation effort in the history. I didn't believe him at the time. I thought, no, this will just be business as usual. He's just, because you can't do what he's suggesting. Well, I was wrong. That Tom Holman guy,
yeah,
and Kristi Noem, they are sweeping the country, and thousands and thousands of people have self-deported.
Right.
Because they set up a program where we paid for people to self-deport.
Right.
Make it easy. We'll make it easy on you. We'll pay
your way.
We'll pay for you to go home, and then you can reapply to come here legally.
You're going home anyway.
Right.
We
can go the hard way or the easy way.
Right.
So now these people who self-deported, they can then apply to re-enter the country legally. Is what he said. But they're physically, ICE is physically, now they're concentrating on the criminals. That's what they say, the criminals, the violent criminals and drugs and things of that nature. But they're not. The ICE, they're not. They have to physically go and arrest these people a lot of times. That's very dangerous. And then they're being what do you call it? Doxxed. Mm-hmm. And I read where they're having a hard time recruiting now. ICE is having a hard time recruiting because these leftist opposition to arresting people and deporting them
it's turned violent.
It's turned violent.
I saw a video over the weekend where they were throwing rocks and bricks through the back window of an ICE vehicle.
So what do you do about that? See, when that happens and ICE has to get out of the car because a rock got thrown in the window and they start manhandling people, then the cameras roll.
Right.
And people go, look at ICE. This is why they're out of control. No kings. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it's a very unfair situation.
The left knows this too, and they take advantage of it because no matter, even if everything that ICE does, and I think probably 99% of the things you do is legal and constitutional, I think they try to do everything like that. But even if they do everything right, if you have video after video after video of that, you're going to have the public, it just is going to turn against the program, and you're going to suffer politically from it, vote-wise, and they know this. So
I would ask, and they won't answer this question, I don't think. Most of them won't. I would ask the people on the left, what do you propose we do then to as far as borders and border enforcement? What do you propose? And they're going to come back with this. We need immigration reform.
Comprehensive immigration reform.
That's gobbledygook. Yep. That means nothing. What they mean by that is let everybody into the country and rubber stamp their citizenship. Mm-hmm. That's what they mean by that.
And grant amnesty to those already in the country illegally. Right. Look, I've got about 30 seconds.
We're out of time.
Thanks.
You got something concise?
Steve and Tim got something. You guys got to say what you
wanted. I got some
wanted.
oxygen for me and Steve. Steve and I.
Listen, we have moved way on. I'm going to want to go back to Victor Davis Hanson. We've moved way on down from where the Constitution has separation of powers. I don't see how we can get back to a more constitutional approach the way we're going.
Have a revolution.
I will say this. The fact that illegal immigrants are using up dollars that go to people in blue cities, should go to them, is one card that Republicans can play and say, if we don't deport these people, they're taking your SNAP dollars, and that might sway some voters.
See you tomorrow, everybody.